It's Facebook Live on a Wednesday or a Monday. Go figure. It's midweek football. Things get jostled up a little bit. Welcome back in, everybody. Joel Gadet, head coach Mike Neu. Glad to have you here with us. Let's talk about where you guys are at right now, because you come off the Toledo loss, and obviously another week that was not what you wanted it to be. But when you take a step back, you still have an opportunity, A, to get to 6-6-1. If you don't do that, you still have a chance to equal or better last year's win total, number 2. And if you don't do that, you still have an opportunity to win 2 trophy games. Right. So with 4 games left to go in the season, there's still a lot in front of you guys.
There is. There 100% is a lot for our football team to play for. Like you said, we're 2-6, and I'm a very positive, optimistic guy. And so we finished the season, winning 4 in a row here, which is my goal and my mindset. It takes one day at a time, one step at a time, one game at a time. And I think more than anything else, I'm just positive about our football team coming out every day, trying to get better in the meeting room, trying to get better in the weight room, working their tail off on the practice field, knowing that, man, the only guys that can control this are us. And so as long as our attitude and our effort is right every day, and we're focused on truly getting better and we want to change it, it will happen. And I'm really proud of just the mindset of the team, making sure that we're staying the course. Nobody's pointing fingers. And we're sticking to the process, which is what I just mentioned about trying to just simply get better every day in all phases of the program, and the results will eventually show.
What did they learn against Toledo from the first half, where they were able to hang with and compete and for a while lead the team that is picked far and away to win this league? And then what did they learn from the second half, where you kind of get hit with that reality of where Toledo is as a program and where you guys are trying to get?
How powerful that confidence is. We played very well the start of the football game, and we did a lot of good things. Obviously, we had another injury setback to Zach Blair to start the game, but Drew Plitt stepped in. Our football team rallied behind him. I think our guys know that, man, if we put it together and we play consistent football and we sustain that, we can play with anybody here. It's not a matter of talent. It's not a matter of, hey, are we good enough? Absolutely, we're good enough. It's about being confident, and that's what the difference is between the two football teams. You see Toledo, that despite things may not go their way early on, they just stay the course. They got a veteran quarterback. They got a lot of veteran players on that football team, and they know eventually that we're just going to do what we do. We're going to eventually get it clicking, even if we don't start that way. And that's just the difference between one program being confident and one program trying to build confidence. And so obviously you see that. It inspires you, knowing that, hey, man, we're going to get there. And it's great, seeing where you stack up against a team like that. And there's such a fine line between success and not having success, and we got to continue just to push the envelope and focus on getting better.
Have you ever gone 4 quarterbacks deep on a team before?
I haven't, and it's easy to say, hey, why us? Hey, it's just, it happens. And we're not, you read about it, and it seems, maybe just because, we're in a situation where we've had several quarterbacks hurt, where you start to look around and go, man, you know what? This may be the first time I've realized there's a lot of teams out there, not just college football, but the NFL, that got guys banged up, or they're on their second or third quarterback. And so we just got to make sure and rally behind them, knowing that our guys have their back. If it's Drew's opportunity now, making sure our guys are around him, supporting him, knowing that he doesn't have to do anything special. Just go out and be Drew Plitt and let the game come to you. Did a good job taking care of the ball the other night in the game, not turning it over. And, hey, it's a hand that we've been dealt, and we're going to stay positive, and we'll get through it.
Going out there and being Drew Plitt, who's Drew Plitt?
Drew's one of those guys that very smart. His intelligence level, something that stood out very early. When I got here, he was part of the signing class that Joey had worked very hard to keep Drew in the mix, and so I kind of met him middle of January there after my arrival, and just his intelligence level. And you see him in the meeting room and how hard he prepares, knowing that, man, probably early on when you're sitting there and you're looking at Riley and you're looking at Jack and you're looking at Zach, going, man, my number's probably not going to get called here. But yet he took pride in knowing that I got to stay ready, because you never know when the opportunity presents itself. And I've been proud of him for that, because that's hard to do sometimes. And he's a guy that's got arm talent. He can make all the throws. He's got a quick release. He's got quick feet. I think the thing for him that he's working on every day in practice is just being consistent, locating the ball, and getting to know the guys around you. Because when you don't have a ton of throws with the receivers, with the tight ends, with the backs, and your number gets called, just trying to get on the same page quickly with those guys is one of the biggest challenges. He's worked hard at that. In the week here now, in the 2 days that he's been preparing, taking every rep as a starter, and he's only going to get better. And I've seen a ton of strides in him from the game when he came in to practice now 2 days into our preparation for Eastern Michigan.
Let's talk about Eastern Michigan a little bit. I asked you who Drew Plitt is. Well, who's Brogan Roback? He's pretty good. Put it in the air 71 times against you guys last year. What are the unique challenges to a guy like him?
Well, unfortunately, we got a heavy dose of Brogan Roback a year ago, having that kind of game here, against us when it was back and forth, and it was an offensive shootout. But, he really did a great job last year of helping Eastern Michigan get to a bowl game for the first time in several years. And he's been playing some good football. They have lost a lot of close football games this year, 3 in overtime, 3 by a touchdown or less. And so But what you see out of him every single week is the ability to throw the back shoulder ball. And that's a tough throw to defend on the outside for a cornerback. When you can throw a back shoulder fade and you have a receiver running full speed and you have a corner running full speed trying to cover him, and then all of a sudden he locates it where his receiver just kind of slows his momentum, makes a back shoulder catch. That's tough to defend because you got a DB that doesn't have eyes in the back of his head. And so he throws that as well as any college quarterback that I've had a chance to watch on tape. And I think he just runs their offense very well and doesn't make a bunch of mistakes, and it gives them a chance to win week in, week out.
Their strength seems to be on defense, though. They're allowing 20-some-odd points a game, anywhere between 19, 21, 22. The most they've allowed is 30 this past week in overtime against Northern Illinois. What do they do defensively? And I asked Rod Carey this morning, and he basically said they just mind their P's and Q's. It's nothing spectacular. They're just really good at what they do.
They're bend but don't break defense, man. They run their defensive scheme. Their guys rally to the football. They tackle well, and they get the ball out. That's the one thing you see from them up front. Their defensive line doesn't get enough credit. They're playing at a high level, and I'd say as a group overall, this will be as good as the defensive front that we will have faced this year. And so it's not, again, they don't do anything flashy, but what they are is very sound. You don't see them make mistakes. They don't give up big, uncontested plays, and that's the one thing that when you see the tape and you go, okay, we're going to have to be smart here, we're going to have to be patient here, knowing that we're going to have to work a drive and put a drive together. They're not just the type of team or defense that's going to give you a big explosive play. So that's the part that you see them week in, week out on film, and they do a good job of getting people to football.
Tim Lester said that this was the best Eastern Michigan team he had ever seen on film, and not a ton of experience, but he had obviously played against them, and now he's looking at them as a coach, and you keep in touch in between a little bit as well. Same boat for you. You played against them, now you're a coach, and I'm sure you kind of have a little bit of a feeler in between as well. This is probably one of the best Eastern Michigan teams you've seen on film, no?
Well, no question, and they're better than they were a year ago. I know the record doesn't say that right now, but they're better than they were a year ago. They're better defensively. Offensively, obviously, they're still playing at a high level. It's just they've had a lot of close games that have not gone their way. So we got to make sure that we're at our best when we get to Ypsilanti, because it's a football team that, they're playing good football despite what the record may say. And, yes, they are a better football team than they were a year ago. And, obviously, when we played them a year ago, they're pretty daggone good.
Coach, appreciate the time. We'll talk to you Monday night as well. I guess Wednesday night as well. It's kind of weird with the midweek stuff. But Monday night with the red and white. Tonight, live at Applebee's on Muncie's Sports Station, 102.9 and 1340 as well. Anthony Winbush will be our guest, so tune in on radio or join us just off McGuired. Coach, looking forward to that. Thanks as always for the time.
Absolutely. Looking forward to Applebee's tonight.